Hi, thank you for joining me for another dose of virtual vitamin Z. My name is Akilah, Education Specialist with the Detroit Zoological Society, where we help celebrate and save wildlife. Today, the knowledge that we are going to be gaining is how can you celebrate and save wildlife from your home. The vocabulary that we're going to be using today, or reintroducing to you, will be this word deforestation. There are many animals. I'm pretty sure you want to know where we're going to be taking a journey to today. So if you're here with me in Michigan, where I am, we're going to be taking a journey all the way to this continent here, Africa. And we're specifically going to be looking at Central Africa, West Africa, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. There are many animals that live in the West Africa region and that live in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Since the early 1980s, there has been a mass habitat loss in this area, and that habitat loss has affected animals, specifically gorillas. Gorillas have been impacted by something called deforestation, and deforestation means the permanent removal of trees that are in that area. So what's happening to the gorillas that are impacted by deforestation is that the gorillas have nowhere to go, and sometimes they're going into areas that can be harming them by hunters or by poachers. The area where deforestation is happening are now used by manufacturers, construction workers, or mining. To give you an idea of what the habitat looked like before the early 1980s, because there has been a 90% loss since the 1980s, we're going to do this really quick activity. So, say for instance, the forest was at 100% before 1980, or we'll use the number 1 if we want to do a fraction. So over time, if all of this green represented the forest area, all of this green, and we folded that in half, you have 1/2 of the forest left where gorillas used to roam, when they used to have all of that green land at first. Or you have the 50%, which is the green where the gorillas are, and the other 50% is deforestation. Now, we're not quite done yet, because remember, we said it was a 90% loss, just about. So remember, before 1980, it was all of this green, and as time went on, you had that green where the gorillas were, and the brown is deforestation. And let's see if we fold that in half again over time. We have 1/4 of the area where gorillas now have access to for their habitat. And the brown is representing their habitat loss to deforestation. And that 25% is the same thing as that 1/4. So all of that brown represents deforestation, and the 25% represents the forest where the gorillas still have. Now we're not done just yet, because we said 90%. So that was only a 75% loss of deforestation with 25% of the land left. So again, before 1980, all of that green land, we folded that in half to represent that 50%. And we folded it in half again to represent that 1/4, because you see all the brown with the deforestation. The green is the land for the gorillas. And we fold that in half one more time. Paper's just folding on me just a little bit. So if we fold that half one more time, that 1/4 is now 1/8. That green represents the land that the gorillas had, and the deforestation is the brown. So that 1/8 is also equal to 12.5%. Not quite the 10% that we were talking about that they had, but it's very close, and it shows you how much land that has been taken over by deforestation alone. So that 12.5, and the rest of that brown, is that deforestation. So I'm pretty sure you're wondering, well, what can I do if I'm all the way all the way on the other side of the world to help gorillas that are in Africa? I want you to pick up your cell phone if you already don't have it in your hand, or if you're already not watching this video. This is exactly how you can help. So inside of this cell phone is a mineral called coltan, just like in some other electronic devices. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like, it looks just like this. Uh-oh, nope, not like that. It looks just like that. In areas where gorillas live in the wild, miners are continuously digging for coltan to ensure our wants of upgrades are met. I'd like to challenge you by trying these 3 things. Hold on to some of your cell phones a little bit longer. That's number 1. And try not to make those upgrades. Number 2, you can purchase a refurbished model. And number 3, last but not least, you can recycle old cell phones and you can have people reuse the stuff that's inside with that coltan. Now I know you're probably thinking there's nowhere I can recycle this now. There's not. But at the Detroit Zoo, we are taking cell phones, and you can hold on to these while you're doing some spring cleaning, and hold on to those until the doors of the zoo open back up. We'll be happy to take those and give them to other production manufacturers so they can reuse that stuff that's inside of those cell phones. So now you know what you can do to help celebrate and save wildlife. Just to recap what we learned today. We talked about celebrating and saving wildlife from the comfort of your own home. The skills that we gained today, we talked about percentages and fractions, talking about deforestation and habitat loss. The vocabulary that we used today was deforestation, and we did touch on some humane education principles, such as showing compassion for a species of animals that you may not see on a regular basis, but that's on the other side of the world. Before we leave today, I do have a really quick joke for you. It's, what do gorillas learn first when they're in school? If you give up, the answer is his APCs. So try that joke out on someone today. Make sure you join us again at 4 o'clock, where my colleague and friend David Kakuri will be sharing stories of his life in Africa and celebrating and saving wildlife at the Detroit Zoo. Thank you, and we'll hope to see you guys soon. Bye.